Hey there, everyone. This is Eric Richards from Springs Houses Online. So it's time for the monthly recap. Let's talk about March and what happened in my market. So with the cool little parabolic graph that we always start off with, we can see that the total number of homes for sale climbed a little bit from February to March. And I'll go over some exact percentages in another chart later. New listings, we went from back in 24 to this one here, pretty significant increase there. That has me a bit concerned. Because we're going into the summer selling season, we should see a lot of this absorbed, but it's the rate when you compare it back here to 2021 and then the pandemonium of 2022 at the end of COVID, that is our market robust enough? Meaning, are there enough sales to absorb this number of new listings? Time will only tell, but this big of a jump has me kind of looking at it going, all right, what's happening here? Total under contract. Again, the canary in the coal mine might as well be my catchphrase they put on my tombstone. We see that this is an increase from this to this, which obviously is good because it helps to consume the inventory that's been added here. This is a buyer and seller's willingness to put a home under contract. So this number being high in relation to the previous number is good. Days on market, stagnant. I'm going to hit pause on this one. I had hoped to see it drop down here back into the 50s. And for having it to go flat, this usually tells you that a market correction, if this lasts for another month, is coming. Moving on, total sales year to date. It's flat, especially compared to last year. So is our market robust enough to absorb that stuff? Right now, signs point towards no. It's not robust enough to absorb that. So inventory is going to continue to build. Average and median home prices. Color me shocked on this one. 544 all the way up to 562. So did a lot less expensive homes sell, or did a lot more expensive homes sell to drive this average? Either way, what we're seeing here is a pretty significant increase in the average price. This also drove the median up. So remember, the average is the blend from $1 to 10 million. You just blend all the sales together and then divide by the total number of sales. Median, on the other hand, is the frequency. So if there are a lot of sales at that 495 mark, more than any other category, then that's the one that's represented. So the median price took a big jump as well. Residential home sales. So what we see here is the condo number driving. And I'm starting off with condos because last month I sounded the alarm about higher HOA payments. And what we have here is a resounding increase, almost a 50% increase in the total number of sales of condos and townhomes, showing that buyers moved down a little bit and started absorbing some of those less expensive homes. I think the little drop in mortgage interest rates may have fueled that because it brought some people that perhaps back here in these other months couldn't qualify in order to get a mortgage, and now we're able to, and they thought, I'll just take whatever is available to me. This number of sales is healthy, but again, when we talk about up here where we had 1,600 new listings, and then these total number of sales, it's not enough in my mind to really make a big difference. Let's go into the stats numbers here where we talk about some of these numbers in finite rather than looking at a bar graph. Remember, everything in parentheses is a negative. Everything it's not is a positive. First thing that caught my eye was this increase. Average sales price. We went from 544 to 562, median sales price 473 to 495. Total active, when you compare the two, 40% increase compared to March of 24 versus March of 25. Folks, that's huge. Total active inventory here in condos and townhomes, also a really big increase. So what's happening here? Cumulative year to date. So this is analyzing January to March of 2024 and January to March of 2025. We see a pretty big increase in the sales volume. That's okay, because again, we have a higher average sales price of about 6% higher. But when you factor in that the total number of sales is largely flat, 85 units total, this begins to make a lot more sense when you multiply it by this. But you'd really like to see this number at a much higher amount, given that this number up here was so much higher in terms of average sales price. So the point I'm trying to drive home here is the sales activity just isn't enough to take into account for this huge increase in available inventory. Last thing, going into this cool little chart, which I always helps me explain to potential buyers and sellers what is the norm for your price range. Are 50% of the homes taking price reductions? Are 75%? Nope. We're still pretty decently, I would say less than a third of all available homes are taking a price reduction. And the average price reduction isn't really significant. 2% on a $600,000 home is $12,000. So we're paying some closing costs. We're doing maybe a $5,000 to $10,000 price break. So what is happening right now? To kind of put it into summary, we have rising inventory, days on market that's flattening, interest rates that are kind of stalled. This is the perfect scenario for inventory to build to the point that we can't keep up with it with consumption unless if something gives. So I'm going to hold out on a prediction and simply say we need to watch the days on market and we need to watch that average sales price. That's going to then translate into what's happening on this chart right here. So hopefully that helps. If you have more questions, reach out to me and I'd be happy to answer them. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks.